10 minutes.
What? Well, if
Because
you've got
the
no
volume wasn't
volume,
on.
yeah, you can't hear how fast you're
It's
going.
so
Can you?
strange.
Right, your tyres are going to be pretty cold because you've been sat on the side of the track for a while, so it might take an extra half a lap. See, at that time it actually just turned in too well initially, but we went a little early anyway. But it's just warm-up laps. But if you can hit those black and white curbs at each of the apexes, you're like halfway to it being perfect, and then we can tweak angles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll clear that slow down. I don't know where you got that actually. Oh, it might have been turn 1.
I think my tyres are still really cold.
Yeah, we went in quite shallow as well for stuff because you're braking earlier. It's turning in like when you tell it to initially, so I think that was making you turn a bit soon. You're used to it understeering first of all.
Okay, my delta's not up.
It will be. It's because you haven't done a lap yet.
Okay.
You have to have set a best lap first. And it won't come up this time either because you got an off track. It won't count as a best lap, if that makes sense.
Right.
As soon as you've done one clean lap, it'll then start doing delta. Good through the link there now. It's like easy through there now. That was much better patience on the throttle that time.
My delta's still not here.
Yeah, it's because you haven't done a clean lap yet. It's because you cut the first corner on the last lap. It needs a full clean lap, and you did it again on that one. Yeah, it's alright. You're just using a tiny bit too much curb. I don't care. Just iRacing cares.
It's come up now.
Yeah, because you did this sector cleanly, but when you get back to sector 1, it just probably won't. It will have a delta for that sector at the moment. But your first flying lap was only like 0.6 off the best you did last time, so that's good.
Okay.
That was a much better, like, delayed turn in there for Stowe. Like, that was a much more ideal line in. Good lift there. Oh, way, way better through here. This delta's going to go crazy now.
Guy behind has just done a 110.60.
Okay, that was clean that time, so you should get a full lap delta on the next lap. Yeah, good. Like, that's real nice. I know you got an off track, because we overslowed it slightly, so it turned in a little bit too well, but your accuracy was good with the curb. So, just keep doing this. This is good. Already your optimal in this session is basically as quick as the fastest lap you've ever done. So if you did all your best sectors, you'd match your best ever lap. Well done for lifting there as well.
Ah!
It's okay. Damage is turned off, so the car will be fine. Okay, so what happened was, because you went deep in village, you were then like having to swing back wide and then kind of back, so you got a bit of a momentum pendulum swing. That was all because in village there was a point at which you abandoned the apex and just kind of let it run a bit wide. That was all. I'm just going to go back and watch it again. It'll be really obvious on the replay. Yeah, you got the curb. You got the curb at village perfectly, but you were going probably like 15 miles an hour too quick when you were on it. That was all. But you got there, but that's what then set the rest up to be difficult. The good bits are really good.
Am I lifting too much for that bit?
Probably in terms of how long you're off the throttle. Yeah, probably.
Right,
It only needs like a momentary lift, but I'd rather that than you pushed wide. So it's fine. That's a nice turn one. Really good turn one. That's more like it. Look at how much better it rotated. And look at the delta. That's awesome. It's okay. Keep going. Don't worry. I'll take off your slowdown there because you went so wide. So yeah, first sector and into the second sector was amazing. We just were a bit too optimistic with the front grip into Chapel.
So I'm just turning the volume down a bit.
Yeah, no problem. So your optimal is now 0.6 quicker than you've ever been before. So if you hook it up, you'll be miles faster. Sorry, I'm talking at you.
That's all right.
Right, I'll shut up and just let you drive a couple of laps.
No,
You don't need
that
me
wasn't
to.
because you were talking.
Really, really good turn one. Now that's 2 laps in a row. You've nailed that.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong there.
Okay, so we didn't get all the way wide on the approach, so you had about a car and a half's width extra you could have gone left. You also just got on the power slightly too soon. So just a moment more patience before you start smoothly getting back on the power. That's why it tried to push wide, but really not bad though. Like, the first half of the lap looks awesome.
Not enough of a lift.
It wasn't.
Maybe too much
It was.
power.
Yeah, it was that you got back on the power a bit too hard. You were right. The timing of the lift was quite good, but you have to kind of go lift, squeeze power rather than lift full power. This is really good though. I'm loving the things you've changed here. That in particular is so much better than you normally do. Now get all the way left before you turn in for this one. Don't forget to brake. We're probably a little late on the brakes, that was all. Because I was saying get left, I think you were concentrating on that bit. Yeah, you got left and then just braked slightly late, that was all. Once you nail that corner, this is going to be easily your best lap ever. Like, all the other bits are miles quicker. So yeah, you've been good in the final couple of corners here, apart from just how you get back on the gas.
It's too much.
That's okay. Just accuracy on the 2 curbs, and then smoothly feed the power back in, use all the width. That's an interesting one. I'm just watching it back.
I need to go over the finish line, don't I? I was going to say, should we?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, just get it over the line. I'm just going to watch it back on board, see exactly what happened. Okay, yeah, that was just... when you got back on the power, you had quite a lot of steering angle still on.
Right, okay.
So, there was also a load of gravel and shit on the track from where you dragged it on before. And that's a new thing on iRacing, where it will realistically remember where all the dirt is from other laps. So, the track really evolves. So, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Hello. Right, so this was that spin at the end here. So you got it lifted and turned, and then when you got on the power, it's a little bit hard for that amount of angle. You see how much we're turning right. It's yeah, you've still got quite a lot of steering angle on for that power. With can you see the crap on the track here? Like all this dirt here. So that's probably part of it. But let's just get the data from which lap shall we look at? What was it? I think this 10.5 because we'll be able to really accurately say where the time was lost. I think it was just all in Chapel.
Okay.
So if I just drag that up, I think you're going to see some parts of the track where you're way quicker than you were before.
Can I move this green?
You should be able to double click on me because you don't need to see you. So if you double click on that,
yeah,
there you go.
I've done it.
Right, here we go. So let's take that one, add it to this, and let's make it, what's a contrast colour? Let's go like blue. Right, okay. So, yeah, okay, exit of turn 1, you're now way better. Because you're slowing it down more. So, okay, if I'm going to get rid of the green trace in a minute, like the one you did before. Yeah. But when you look at the purple versus the blue, if you can see those differences here, your one you just did is the blue one. The one you did before was the green one.
And you're the purple.
And I'm the purpley one at the top. Okay. But if you look at the shape, I know the blue one's lower than both of them at this stage. But if you look at the shape of it, how much you're braking, look how the speeds are they're matching, if you see what I mean. Like, although yours is slightly earlier, you're braking at a similar rate. And when we look at the brake trace, look how different the green is to the blue. Okay. You are now doing what I'm doing into turn 1. It looks really good. And on the exit, look how much quicker the blue one is. The blue line is so much faster on the exit of turn 1. So if we go to here, you've pulled back like 2/10 through the first corner versus you before. And then into the next corner, into village. So green was what you were doing before, blue is what you're doing now. Look how much more similar it is to what I'm doing. Like the brake trace and the speed line into the corner. The only thing that isn't as good, the only thing that hasn't kind of worked is you've still gone through the middle bit a tiny bit fast. So on this particular lap, you've gone through the apex there at, what's that, like 6 kilometres an hour quicker than me, probably on a sharper angle.
Is that because I'm coming off the brake or getting off the accelerator?
It's because you just turned in slightly early. So everything was fine here, and then at the point you turned in, if you look at the blue line on the GPS trace, it went in early. So although the speed was nearly right, it pushed you a bit wide on the exit. So your minimum speed happened over here. So this was the slowest you were at, like here, whereas mine is just back here. So that's the little tweak. We'll just need to turn in a fraction later. In fact, let's look at the lap and see where you turned in. But like you've moved massively away from what you were doing like a week ago. You're now really doing a similar braking style to what I'm doing. Yeah, so you started to peel away from here, which is a lovely position, by the way. You started to peel away from here before this white line. Okay. So, like, there. Yeah. So we've got, like, this little triangle shape between your car and there. And I think mine is going to be, like, at the line. But let's go with this. I think this was probably my most accurate lap near the end. So mine is... Oh, it's fraction. It's a tiny fraction different. So... I've got a very, very slightly later turn in. Yeah. But I bet when I get here, it's that bit there, the angle there, is a bit tighter. You're taking
some of that curve?
Not on purpose. That's a mistake hitting that sausage curve. So don't try and hit it. That actually lost me time.
I think, like when I'm hitting the curb, it just throws you off a little bit.
If you hit the sausage, it will. Yeah, so you hit it, but look at the angle your car's at when you hit it. Mine's facing a little bit more right there, and yours hits it and you're facing straight, and that's what just you actually see it bounce as you wide, like you say, bump, and then you're like, then your minimum speed is here, not like back here. But you're way closer though. Okay, so back on the data. Let's go here. Okay, so you're now faster through the kink on this lap. Yeah, so the thing that screwed you was braking late. So when we zoom in on the brake trace down here, I'm braking back here, like before the little crest, before the little bump, and you're actually braking even later than you were before. So
right, okay, so brake before the bump.
Yeah, let's just confirm that, just so I'm not, because you'll be able to see my actual, you'll see my brake on the screen here. So here we go. Yeah, look at my brake lights. So the bump is like here, roughly, like we're on top of it, aren't we, where this all the escape road is. And I've been braking from here, like back there. So quite early.
Should you be over more to the left or not?
Me, I think I get all the way left there. So you don't have to be left there, obviously, but as long as you're there by the time you turn in. And and you said to me on this lap, because it was quite a good lap at this point, you said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. So you're going to see quite a big difference here. So just remember where I am relative to this little escape route. This is it's the late braking coupled with the positioning into there. Those two things combined, you'll find so much time. It'll be like really easy. So you are there. So it's that different. So just get back to the left a bit earlier and be at the left by the time you get to this. And my brakes were on by like now.
Yeah.
And yours are on there. So you're just like, you've got a much less space to play with and you're going quicker. So those two things are what are making that difficult. So it's a similar thing to what our chat was at the start. Actually, just take more time, like slow everything down and be more calm, and suddenly the lap time will come, even though it feels like it shouldn't. And yeah, through the middle of that corner, you actually got back on the power before I'd finished braking. So I don't finish braking until here. You've already been on, well, not full throttle, but 70% throttle for like 15 meters by that point.
Where's your braking finish?
So my braking finish is there. If I zoom in here, you'll see it better. So there. So just as we're approaching the apex. So we're going into Chapel. So corner we were just looking at before the hangar straight.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, after the little link through here. So my braking finishes there.
And this corner's confusing me.
So this is the 90-degree right that leads onto the hangar straight. You know the one I mean? So you do like village, left.
Oh, because we're not right. Okay, yeah, okay. We're not. I'm looking at it as if we're going that way.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, this is just in the cut through.
So you finished braking.
I finished braking here, and you were back on the throttle, back there. So
right. Okay.
So that's pushed you really wide, and you can see on the GPS trace, like look how wide your green and your blue one have gone. So if we fix that, and you're consistently in that kind of tight position there, so that is a thing that is obviously like a natural place you end up. So that might have to be a bit more of a conscious effort to get there. But if you do it and you don't forget to brake early because you're concentrating on going left, like get left and brake early. And smooth. You're still smoother than before. Your braking's better than before. It's just still a bit too late. And stops too soon as well. That you're going to gain bucket loads of time. So that now is really our biggest time gain.
For fuck's sake! This stupid thing, the desk thing.
Oh right, okay. It's out of camera shot, so I can't see it.
Every time I touch it, it falls down.
And then we've got Stowe.
So are we still on the thing? I've gone back.
Yeah, sorry. So I was just looking at the final corners.
We're at the end of the lap.
No, we ain't got to the hangar straight. We're nearly there. So Stowe, I know you can do Stowe well. This particular lap, it wasn't perfect, but it's still fine. It's the final corners here. Right, so it was all looking quite rosy at this point. You were so much quicker here than you normally are. But what happened? Why did we lose time? Oh, did it get sideways? Yeah, look, you ended up really tight at this point. What happened?
Did I not lift enough, or did I get back on the power?
Let's look. So, went through the first bit. We're going a bit deep at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got back. So you did a very short lift on this lap. You went, and then you got back on the power hard, and at this angle, it was always going to go wide, 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 and then you had to back out. Yeah, so the reason that went to crap, and the reason that wasn't half a second quicker, is because of that time lost there. So you would have been. So yeah, you lost like half a second against yourself in that corner on that lap. So that would have been on par with your fastest ever lap, even if that's the only thing you changed. 1 minute 9.89, something like that. I think is your fastest ever. I've got it saved. So if you get in the high 1 minute 9s, you're matching your best ever. But look at your optimal. When you go back in the car in a second, and you see your optimal, you're down to like a 9 minute 3 or something like that. Like 1 minute 9.3.
Do I get back in the car now?
Yeah, jump back in, and you can see your optimal on the screen in a second.
Okay.
When you're in it.
We didn't get a button just to do the practice, did we?
So you see down on the bottom left, it says 1 minute 9.3 optimal.
Okay.
In fact, just before you drive, sorry Nat, can we just change a thing? Because it's on your delta is versus best lap. But if you get an off track or whatever, it screws with it and it won't give you an accurate delta. So if you just jump out, we just want to change an option just so it's showing you the right thing. And then you won't ever have to change this again. I always leave mine on optimal.
So this is so annoying. So if I press it too long,
yeah.
I go back in.
If you can click on options and then option.
Hang on. Let me try and remember where. Could I do it with my buttons?
I don't think so, no. You have to use the mouse to click on it. Sorry. So at the top where it says options, and then there's a tab at the bottom which says option with no S on it. Cool. And then you've got a few different sections where it's got split time delta, the second grey bar across.
Yeah.
If you change that drop down box from session best lap to session opt lap, then it doesn't matter which lap you set the sector on. It'll be it'll be comparing you against your best version of that sector each time.
Okay.
Because sometimes it looks like you're on a really good lap on your delta, but it's because you didn't have a legal version of whatever the other sector was. So cool. So this is now comparing you against a 1 minute 9.3 lap. So when you see if you're up against a 1 minute 9.3, which means you're definitely on your best ever lap. So this was just about...
Look, let's hit that curb, really.
Yeah, as long as you're not on the power going too quick and you clip it, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, that's the one we just want.
Way too late.
But you'll feel it now.
Look. No, I was looking. I was like, where do I need to be? Where do I need to be braking?
Yeah. I'll just stay on your case through there because that'll be the same in real life as well. You know, the positioning through there, it's easy to leave time on the table for no reason there. Stow, just don't overthink it. Just do it how it feels right because you generally are completely fine through stow. It's these fiddly ones that are fiddly. That was a pretty decent effort. That was pretty decent through there.
There was a bit of a slide.
I think that's just cold tyres. That's just because you're on the first outlet. That was lovely and accurate through there.
I had to lift though.
That's fine. I lift as well.
What, at the apex?
If I sense I've gone slightly too quick, then I adjust it in real time. I'm just going to call that cold tyres as well. I think you might have been out on marbles. Because we went through village a little quick. Yeah, you were like all the way on the dirt. And it does remember the dirt, so.
I'm trying to not go on the dirt. Coming back on the track then.
That's okay. I mean, when you do more laps, it will also clear it up. As you drive through it, you're clearing it, so. What you did through here on the last lap was quite nice. Don't worry about that though. It's better to be like that than to be too wide. Like if you bump the sausage curb and you're really tight, like It might not be perfect, but it's definitely better than going wide and having to back out on the
Okay.
exit. I'm just watching that back. I think you went so quick through turn 1 that you had to lift for turn 2, basically, that time. And on my fastest lap, I lift for turn 2 every time because of that same
do
reason.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
just not a full lift, but enough
but
so
just a
it doesn't
little.
keep running wide. Yeah, so I
Okay.
judge it based on how well turn 1 has gone. If
Okay.
turn 1 was really bloody good, I know I'm probably going a bit too quick to make
Okay.
turn 2 flat out. That, I know it feels slow, it's way better than what you normally do. Like, it's that apex of the first part there, of the final chicane, is really good. So we want to turn in about 3 or 4 metres later for the first corner next time.
Okay.
That's accurate, that's good. Okay, so make sure you get all the way left and get braked quite early. That's much more like it. Much more like it. And then you can just feed in the power down the straight here. Really good. So right now, you're on a 109.5 second lap if you don't make any mistakes for the rest of the lap.
Okay.
So the first half of the lap, that's good enough to be by far your quickest ever lap. And you gained half a tenth there into Stowe. So you're looking even better now than you were a minute ago. Awesome. Really good. Just need a clean final corner. You actually gained time through there. So over the line, that is 1 minute 9.4. Half a second quicker than you've ever been. And it was legal as well. Lovely. And that was a good turning point for turn 1. And because of that, you've got an easy turn 2. Really good.
I wasn't quite out
It's okay.
well enough.
Still better
but-
than you used to be. Like, this is still currently on par. So you're 2 tenths down on your optimal, which is a 109.1. So this is still looking quicker than the previous lap. That looks, from the Delta, I'd say we overslowed it a bit that time. That was like
Okay.
slightly too cautious. It'd be a solid lap, just not one of your fastest. That's lovely and accurate through there. You're so much better through the final corner now. So that was a 1:10.0. That was half a second quicker than you did in the previous run. And that was miles off what you did on the last lap. So that's how much faster you go now. And now we're miles up. That's the best turn 1 you've ever done. Absolutely miles up on your best ever lap. This could be a 108. This is mega. Right, so this is currently on course to be a 108.9, which would be a second quicker than you'd ever been until this run. So that's mega. Whatever you're doing now, whatever habits you're getting into, like, keep doing them. Good. And that wasn't overslowing that time. That time you gained time into Stowe. And the accuracy in the final corner you did in the last 2 laps is perfect. Oh my god, this is such a fast lap. 109.2. So, easily your fastest ever. Easily. This is also consistent, which is nice. You seem to be matching the sectors each time, within a tenth or so. So gave away a little bit of space on the left, but you went through the apex quicker than you normally do. So you still gained 700s. So there's more time to find there, but you're quicker anyway on this lap, even with the way you did it there. So this lap is still on course to beat your best ever, even though it's showing you as 2 tenths down. That was 2 tenths down on the optimal lap.
That's fucked it up.
Yeah, it's a little bit deep, but no problem. Just keep going. That was one issue in the entire lap, and it's still a 1 minute 9.7, which we would have killed for 20 minutes ago. So still really good.
That wasn't great.
Great positioning into there. Really good. Look at the run you're getting down the hanger straight as well. Okay, not now, but you were about to.
That's a shame.
Until it was backwards. Do you want to just pause there for a second? Because there's a couple of things I want to show you. Since you're now since you've now nailed the things we spoke about a minute ago, there's some little tweaks now that you can do to perfect things. So I'll show you on the video first. Let's take your fastest lap. So
hang on, let me just get back to Discord.
That looked quite cool, that replay. So yeah, so your fastest ever lap until that run was a 1 minute 9.898, I think. So you've gone 7 tenths quicker than you've ever been before. Your optimal's way, way faster. And and on that run, you did 3 laps that were quicker than you've ever done before.
Okay.
But things that you can still perfect. So let's just skip through. Turn 1 looked really good. And this was really good. Also, in turn 2, the way you used a bit of curb here, that's lovely.
Okay.
Like, you really helped give yourself more space to play with. What it seems, I don't know whether it feels like this or whether it's conscious, that was great. Look how much later you turned in as well. You just waited until the speed had come down and then did the right line in. But what you're really doing well now is at this point in the corners, in the tight corners, you're letting the car rotate. You're not forcing the gas on and pushing wide early. You're just waiting. It rotates and it's just so much faster because you're facing the right way when you get on the power. And you exited here in the middle, not over here, like so much better. You're not going really wide to cut back. You're just going, you know that it's a gentle enough kink that you're going to make it easily from this run, from this line. We're left and we're braking early. I can see that the brake lights are on in the same place mine are.
Could be further left.
A tiny bit,
Okay.
a tiny bit, but you know, that's now so much better than it was. Probably cut a little bit too much there, but it's because you were so nice and calm here. The car the car turned right almost too easily.
Okay.
But then on one of the subsequent laps, you gained time here. The lap wasn't better in the end, but this bit was. So you have done this better than you even did it on this lap. So then Stow's always good. So that's like you can just see even in high speed, you can see how nice and accurate that is. Like really, really nice use of the curb, smooth on the throttle, using all the track, but not like rushing it. Just like just introducing the throttle exactly at the right time. And then final corner. This is so much better than you used to do. Positioning it here. You're like focused on, okay, there's a tiny bit more curb you can use, but as long as you see that you're not all the way tight and you compensate by waiting even longer before you get back on the power here. And actually, on this lap, we went a little bit wide. You could have been even tighter here, but it was good enough that you carried the advantage you'd already gained. That's nice, though. So quite often, when you're at this point, you're angled that way a bit. So there's like a much bigger gap between the front of your car and the curb and the rear. It's like more of a V shape.
Right,
but here, the front's slightly wider than the rear, but you're kind of almost tracing the same shape as that curb. Like you're aiming the right way, and that's good. So this is the bit. You know, I said there's a little tweak that you can make. It's this. Consistently, you were leaving a gap to this curve.
Okay, let it run
as you
wide.
exit here. Yeah, and although here now you're letting it run wide a bit. So from here to here, you actually do run wide to give yourself the line into the next corner. You can do it earlier. You can come out of here and just like, obviously don't go straight and then turn when you get to the curb, but just use enough steering angle that means you're not going to finish here, you're going to finish like out here naturally, and then that means you can be on the power earlier. You can carry more speed through that previous corner because you realise you get here and you're like, oh, I need to go wider. Now I can turn into here. Whereas I'm pretty sure if we look at mine, it just goes there. That's certainly what I'm trying to do. As I'm going to that first curb on the right, like the apex curb of the tight right, I'm like looking to the outside curb because I want to end up there. So from here, let's just see. I'm like looking over here to end up there somewhere just before the sausage curb. Yeah, you see, we kind of end up there, and that then just means I can go on the power harder here because I know I don't need to end up there. I'm going to go wider than that, so it's fine. And you see how the car doesn't try and squirm. A few times you lost the rear here because you're hard on the power with a bit more angle with the steering. My car doesn't squirm at all because I'm barely turning. And then by the time we get here, we've got downforce and we're already moving. And then here, you and I are on a really similar line. Maybe I'm a bit more on the curb, but this bit onwards, it's fine. So there we go. That's like the little tweak. If you can do that and be even wider at after the link, where we said you've got like half a car that we can use here, where you're now braking like a little bit wider there. And obviously just be aware it's going to turn in better than you expect. In fact, look, I'm on the dirt here too, and it didn't give me an off track, so that's not too bad then.
Off track either, did it?
Okay. In that case, use it, but let it go out here. Be on the power and let it go a bit wider because I think on your best lap, you used that little bit of dirt like we just saw, but you were like a bit more.
I can't be too
pinched
wide.
on the exit. Yeah, look, you didn't go. I was just a bit more over here. I think you're allowed. I think it's fine unless they put cones or something there. In a race.
It depends.
I think when we looked at video, I was out wide there. But anyway, it's not the end of the world.
I've had different races in different series where they give different advice.
Okay, we'll just play it by ear. But definitely you've got a little bit of room there. And the exit onto the final corner there, you can just like let it flow a little wider. But don't let that affect your accuracy before. Still be really accurate with those curves. Just have like that bonus room to use as you're applying the power. But that's it. Oh, well, we didn't look at any data, but I think you've seen. I think you can go even quicker. So let's go do it. I'll bring the data up whilst you're on your out lap, just so I've seen it. I guarantee what I'm about to see is that your braking shape is more smooth and less rushed and late. I bet you're earlier and more rounded. Yeah, your best lap had no off tracks at all, so that's really good. I'm going to delete some of the other stuff. Yeah, so on the data, you have brought your minimum speed back for village, so that's better. Like, you can see the accuracy in it. Interestingly, on your best lap, we lost quite a lot of time on that link where we were saying you can go slightly wider. But I think that's just because you overslowed it slightly. Nice. Stowe was way better than you did before. And the final corner, you made it mainly up on the final corner. It was way better than you've been doing up until today. Right, I'm back on board with you. Nice. Yeah, so I think that positioning's fine.
Okay. Well,
you don't have to wander back to the middle of the straight. Make sure when you exit, you kind of go straight, not right, left, straight. But your positioning on the exit was fine.
The tyres are still cold.
Yeah, I think they are. It's good that you can feel the difference, though. Like, you're sensitive enough to it all that you know what's different. Oh, it's so much nicer watching you through there than it used to be. And that's better. That's definitely better.
Yeah.
Lovely accuracy with the sausage curb on the final corner. You had about a millimetre to it. Oh, I think that's a little too fast through turn 1. The
Okay.
line was great. The angle, everything was great. I think you were just going too fast for the tyres. That patience is great.
Too much time looking at where I was. I forgot
Yeah.
to turn in.
It felt like the brakes were slightly later than normal as well. I'm looking back at your brake lights.
Yeah.
Maybe not crazy actually. No, it wasn't. Maybe
I just think I was looking at where I needed to be left rather than where I needed to turn in.
Yeah, you're completely right. It was the turning point. The turn-in happened a bit late.
That wasn't enough brakes. That was off, wasn't it?
I'm gonna just check
No.
exactly. Your timing's not too bad. Yeah, you got an off track. Yeah, that was about half a car width further than it can go with. That was a great apex though through village. Probably a little bit too. Yeah, you can see how tight it let you exit. Probably just overslowed a bit through there. That was a very nice, tidy stow. What we're talking about here, going wide onto that, positioning it wide on that exit curb, that's all exactly going to be the same in real life. Like, all the stuff we're doing here will translate into real life. And yeah, that was half a car over that as well. If they let you do that, if that was a legitimate line that you're not going to get penalised for, then do it. And definitely cut as much as you can there in real life. That just might be a little bit more than you get away with. Oh wow, that was extremely early turning. That was definitely the earliest. So you got it positioned so well to the left and stopped it so early that it just... Yeah, I'm just looking at the speed. So we're down to like 100k. What are we on a normal lap? Into there. Actually, yeah, to be fair, your speed was like basically exactly right for the turn. You just turned in really early. Everything you did about that...
I keep going off track. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think because you're just getting it slowed maybe slightly more than you need to. The car's turning too well into those corners.
Not that one.
Not that one. Right, so try not to cut turn 1 with all of the car.
Okay.
Just like, use the curb, definitely, but just don't use the grass. That's perfect. That's lovely. That's like exactly the right position into there. Your trail braking into village is looking so much better now. Good effort through there. That's nice. And you can see we're green, green, green. That's good. Gaining hundreds. So you're now nearly a tenth quicker through that section than you've ever been. So, nice. This is a very, very good lap that you're currently on. Purple sector. And that was a good stow as well. That matched your best ever. Lovely accuracy there. Really nice. Okay, so I think maybe there was some overslowing. The accuracy was great though, so Still
Okay.
a 109.5. So it ended up 0.3 off your best ever, but it was almost all in the final corner because you were definitely up until the final corner. That was an interesting one because I was waiting for something to be wrong. I was waiting to see what was causing us to run wide.
I don't
Okay,
know.
I'm looking at the speed. I think it was excess speed. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, it was speed. So, normally, on the data, our fastest we go through that apex is 106k, and on that lap,
Okay.
you went through the apex at 122k. So
Oh,
that's
wow,
why.
okay.
So it didn't feel like it from the video, but the speed is what is the giveaway. And obviously, it was running wide, so there was always going to be a reason for it. But your turning point looked good, and your positioning was good. It was just judging exactly how much braking to do, which is harder on the sim. Yeah, that was a good exit there. So the exit of that final chicane, you actually gained a couple of hundredths over your best.
Too late.
But well done for realising and then just, accepting it and braking until you were definitely going slow enough. You didn't abort the corner. You still just tried to make the best of the corner, even though there was like an initial mistake.
I don't know why I'm not doing that corner right. I think I'm still braking not early enough.
I'm just watching the speed again. So again, you went through the apex at 121k that time.
Okay.
So it's only a moment long break, a slightly longer trail break will take the extra 10, 15k off, and then it'll be fine. Yeah, it's actually
I don't know
more.
whether I've just.
It's actually more like 10 kilometers an hour, not 20, that you're too quick through the link.
I don't know whether my brain's just given up now.
That's okay. We're going to have a break in a second. Look at some data if you want. You've done a lap on this. Just do one more lap and see if it's
Yeah,
if it's
okay.
an amazing one. Then great. If it's crap, then we can abort.
It's already not great.
That's not it's not the end of the world. Missed the apex by a little bit. Your turning point for that is so much better now. I can see where you are relative to the white line on the track. It's so much better. Good positioning.
See,
Nice
I'm
smooth
still
turn. So right, you're on course for potentially your best ever lap. Like up until you kind of had a wobble on the exit there. That was actually because your best is your optimal's a 108.7. So this could still be a 109.2 if you did a great end to the lap. Nice gain on the entry. Does that mean we're going to suffer on the exit? A little bit.
Yeah.
I think we came off the brakes a bit too soon. I could kind of hear that the revs stopped dropping quickly. If you just get it over the finish line and park up, that's fine. I'm still going to show you some stuff from this lap because it'll be fresh in your memory.
I don't like against my optimal delta.
You don't like it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Well, I mean that's preference.
It's red all the time, and I need it to be green.
Okay.
I react off green.
Okay, that's fine. It just gives you like an accurate.
I can see my optimal in the
Yeah.
corner, and I always check that. But
Okay.
I need on the lap for it to be green, because otherwise my mentality goes, I'm failing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that.
So. Okay.
We can change that back. But all I'm going to say is the moment we change it to optimal, you went like half a second quicker than you've ever been. So that's what I'm going to say.
All right. Well, let's leave it there for a bit longer. It might just be because I'm.
Let me just show you back that lap because I know obviously that wasn't your best lap, but there were some really good bits about it. So, and then we'll look at the data so you can see.
It might just be that I need to build up my brain.
Right. So this
Yeah.
was the lap you just did. We're going to look at actually a much better lap than this in a second, but. You missed the apex at turn 1. This is what I liked. We went into village, and you could see. Oh no, actually no. This one wasn't the lap I was thinking. This was the final lap, and you made the apex really, really well on this lap. So that was good. Probably picked up the throttle a tiny bit early on this one because this is all.
I'd given up.
Yeah, this
That
is all
lap,
good.
I'd given up. There were some bits that I did, and then I was like, Delta says no.
You actually see, look, because you get on the power early, you push a bit wide and look at this puff of dust where you go over the dirt. Now, do you see that? All the dirt. So that's why it got sideways there. And then through here, that's obviously fine. Your positioning here is so much better consistently.
I still don't feel like I've got that corner.
Okay, I think it's hard. It's a weird corner because it drops away from you as you get to the apex. But
I just feel like I'm maybe focusing too much on my position in my brain, and then I'm not.
Well, we need
braking.
We need the positioning to just be natural. I've never once thought about going left. I just know there's a right-hander coming up, so of course I'm going to be on the left. If you see what I mean.
I think I'm actually looking too much for markers.
Okay.
And then by the time I'm getting onto braking, accelerating through the apex, I'm already too.
In that case,
behind.
if this maybe this helps, maybe it doesn't help. But as you go through the link, as you go through the like the kink to the left, have the positioning like subconsciously already set up here. Like we're going through a left-hander. You know what's coming up next is right. So automatically, we just need you to stay left rather than like trying to find left. Just like use your peripheral vision to come through here and just be over here. But I'm looking down here. Like I'm not looking over the left here. I'm looking at that. As I come through the kink, I'm using my peripheral vision to just judge how far from the white line I am.
I think it's the braking. I think I'm looking for where the bump is for the braking. I'm definitely focusing too much on the left-hand side of the track to look for markers. I think I know I'm left. I think it's the braking. I think I'm going, I need to be braking here. Am I braking hard enough? Am I braking too soft? I think that's what it is here. So I just need to do it a few times without thinking.
It might just be that you have to practice it enough times.
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
My subconscious thought process is, as I go through here, I just know I want to brake softly and sometime before I can actually see where I'm going. I'm kind of just ready to start squeezing the brake. And actually, when you see the data, this isn't the data of the lap you just did, but just show you you see I hedge my bets a bit. You see my brake here? I'm like, softly, and then I do it harder when I can see where I'm going. And then I kind of bleed off at the end just to make... So it's kind of like a primer here, just to make sure I've taken the edge off the speed. Then I've got my actual main brake there, and then I've got my kind of accuracy tweaking the trajectory trail brake at the end. So it's actually a weird 3-part brake. So maybe you can just softly brake earlier, and then you don't have to worry about the exact position because you've already kind of just settled the car. It gives you time to then guide it in. If you find that with the soft positioning brake, you've actually braked a bit more than you thought, then you just don't need as much main brake. But if you haven't done enough of that first one, you need slightly more main brake. But whatever happens, you've bought yourself some time to be accurate, because really the key is you've got the hanger straight coming next, and you need to be really, really nice and as early as you can get away with on the power here without it running wide or losing the rear or all the stuff that early power causes. So it's like, it's the accuracy that is much more important than the braking late. I'm never thinking about trying to gain time on the brakes here, because I know this corner is all about the exit. The entry is secondary for sure. But anyway, right, so that was that lap. But let's look at actually a good lap that you did there. And it was this 109.5, right? So it was 0.3 off. This was 0.3 off your fastest ever, which came in the previous run. But you lost all of the time between those two in the final corner. So up until the last corner, you were up on your best. So I'm going to bring the data up whilst we're talking about it, so we can do it at the same time. But this was, I would say, your best lap of the session, except for the final corner. And it was legal again. Yeah, look, purple middle sector. So for sure you were best in the middle there. What colour should we make this? Let's make this one purple. So confusingly, I've changed the colours whilst you were driving. So it's now.
The colours.
So I'm blue. Your fastest time of the session before you found like a breakthrough was red. So the first session was red. So me, blue, you red. Then your best ever lap was green. And your fastest lap from that last run was purple. So this is the one, the purple one is the one we're looking at.
Okay.
So let's just look at that on the data. I haven't looked at these yet, so I'm seeing this for the first time. Oh, this is really interesting. Right, okay. So, first corner, in that previous run, you really overslowed it. So actually, we've lost time versus your best here. So somehow you're going to gain all that back because you go the other way around by the somewhere in the middle sector. Okay, so turn 1, you're slightly too cautious on that lap. But you've done it various ways. Your best ever lap, which you did today, obviously, you were great through turn 1. So for whatever reason, you were just a bit too cautious on turn 1. And actually, you can see how tight you came off the first corner. You can see that you were obviously going a bit slower. So that's one thing. But then I think we're going to see it get a lot better from here onwards. So let's look at this part of the lap. It's confusing how many lines there are, so I'm going to have to delete some. Let's get rid of the red one.
Get rid of the turn, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. Okay, so your minimum speed happened at the same time, which is still slightly later than I'd like it to be, but before it was over here somewhere. So you've brought your minimum speed back here. So you basically matched your minimum speed through Village on your lap you just did. Mine is still slightly earlier, so you're still kind of you're reducing the braking force in this part of the corner here, and almost like unintentionally sending it in at the last moment. But look how much better the line is now. You are now basically every time doing the line I do into that corner. So if you can do that just without coming off the brakes as much. See, the purple one just reduces the brake force when I'm just maintaining quite a constant pressure here. We're all trailing. You and me and you are all trailing, but you're having to do it a bit longer there because you've come off the brakes a bit earlier in the corner back there. So that's the one tweak we can still perfect into Village, is just maintaining a slightly stronger brake pressure so you don't have to be still slowing there. You can finish the slowing here, and it'll mean you look how much earlier I'm able to get on the power. I'm back on the gas there, whereas both of your laps you're having to wait until there because you've been slightly greedier than me on the speed on the way in. But it's much smaller tweaks now. It's much smaller differences, but this is still some time to gain. But compared to what we were looking at earlier, you're now like you're seeping time away rather than losing a chunk of time. So that's a thing we can perfect, but you've totally gone in the right direction with the way you're trailing on the way in, the way you're turning in at the right point. It's just all way better. It's now like, instead of being over here, you're much closer to where I am. It's just a little bit wider. So we can still perfect it. But yeah, we'll carry on with that next time. But the traces all look quite similar now at a distance. So if you've done turn 1 better and you kept that the same, this is looking like a really good lap. What happened through here? So this is into the little, through the cut through, down onto Stowe. Right, your exit was great. The exit was better than you've ever done. This is where you really start to make the time, because look how fast you come off that corner. And if we zoom in, now you're not holding it too tight. Remember before you lost time because you didn't really explore the edges. Now you're basically where I am, like pretty much the same. This is now a consistent theme though, and I don't know why you're doing it. Every time you come off of this corner, you let the car wander into the middle of the hangar straight and then come back. See where the purple line goes here? It's not killing the time. It's probably like half a tenth though. It's something. On a qualifying lap where it's close, and that might make the difference. So when you come off there, obviously you have to get back on the track because you're like off track at this point. But don't go like really back on the track. Like you don't have to let it run back on and turn too much. Just kind of gradually edge back on and then stay as straight as you can. It's just a small thing. But yeah, anyway, that's way better. But we did overslow it on the way in. So there's still a chunk of time here to here that we can make up. So let's just see why. The video will tell all. Okay, it's still slight positioning thing. So this is the lap, right? So the one before was a 1099. Right here. I'm just going to show you where it ended up. You do get there, but you get there a little bit late. And I think because you get there late, that's what you're having to still think about that, when really we want to be thinking about kind of sweeping into the next corner, carrying as much speed. Because you're still like, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet. Now we get there, you don't have very much time. You go from like, you reach the edge and immediately you have to turn in. Whereas I think I'm there like just a little earlier, so I've got a bit more time straight to look into the next corner and just sweep in. So that's one thing we can change. And it should be easy because this is such a gentle corner you can just basically go there early, you know, just turn left a bit early. It doesn't have to be a violent turn, but a little bit more than you currently are. That's it. And then you'll buy yourself this time to kind of calculate. You know, you'll be looking into here and your brain has more time to judge the speed rather than like, I think you're here and it's almost like then you're looking across and it's like you just don't have time to work out how much braking you need. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, that's the wonder. There we go. It looks so obvious now. It's almost like you're following the natural trajectory you do if you were on the Grand Prix track, where you come out of Chapel at a higher speed from here somewhere, but you just don't need to go all the way there and back. Right, okay, next corner. Stowe has generally been really good, but I haven't looked at this data. Yeah, you were so much better. You were so much better at Stowe on that lap. You smashed it. Look at this. Look at how your trace and my trace, the purple and the blue, like you're not giving away all this entry time. You were just more confident to brake more gently here. And then look at the trail, your trail and my trail, even though you're doing it with your hand and I'm doing it with my foot. You've obviously got such good, fine judgment with the way you can, you know, the control you've got there, that you're now basically matching me, like really, really matching me into Stowe. Like not just in lap time, but also in technique. That's nice. That's so nice to see. And instead of losing a couple of tenths, you basically just keep it the same on the way in there.
Okay.
It's really good. Stowe's good now. And final corner, you were slightly more cautious on the entry, so you braked a little earlier, but you reap the rewards here because you can see the purple line is much closer to the blue. So we didn't quite nail the exit. I don't know what happened there. I think you were a bit cautious actually, because when you see the throttle just doesn't go to full. How's the line? Yeah, line is better. Look how the purple and the blue are like much more similar than the green. So you weren't as deep. So you kind of, I think you pinched it slightly unnecessarily on this lap. We saw actually, this is where you lost time on the exit because you lost 3 tenths. Up until this point, you were looking like you could have beaten your best lap. So this is excellent, but then you can then take the reward from that, which is a quicker right-hand turn. And I think you're not used to it being that easy. Because you're not normally on that line. You're normally a bit wider. And so you delayed the throttle like you'd delay it on a tight line, but actually you could have swept out further and been even faster. But there's so much more similarity between your trace and my trace now than there normally is. So if I now just if I just get rid of the green one, I'll bring it back for comparison next time anyway, because it was your best. But now if we make the purple one green, so we've got a real contrast. Second half of the lap, look how similar we look on speed.
Yeah, okay.
If you ignore turn 1, where it just didn't go that well on that lap, you're just a bit too cautious, and the entry into Chapel, where although the exit was great, that little bit before it, we were just a bit too slow. If we ignore that and that, you and I are now very similar. Like here, looks really similar. Into Stowe.
What's my ideal?
108.7.
Okay.
So you're half a second
off, yeah.
a second and a half off, but you were like 3.5 or something before. Like that's massively closer. And when you consider that turn 1 on this lap is 6 tenths alone, and then still, even though you're much closer to me, there's still half a second or so through village and link. Like that first half of the lap, there's still quite a lot of time. But then when you look at the delta here, there's no real loss at any one point. There's a very gradual loss, but you're 1.3 down here, and you're only 1.4 down here. Like that whole chunk of the lap round to there. I know some of that's to hang a straight, but that relies on you getting a good exit. Otherwise, you'd be losing more anyway. So for most of the distance of the lap there, you're barely losing a thing. And the final corner on this lap, you lost more than you normally lose. So we're now isolating it down to very particular points, and you're already on the trajectory of doing them the right way. We now just have to do them the right way and maximize them, and you won't lose a step of time. We'll halve that, and then we'll halve it again, and before you know it, you'll be doing the same as this, like where you're basically doing identical technique to me into each of these corners. I think this is going to start translating into real world, like the way you're doing the slow corners. It's like it's the way you're not over pushing in, like just trying to brake really late, brake really hard, and then suffer with understeer because you've got no weight on the nose anymore, and you've gone in a bit quick. If we can do this enough that your muscle memory is waiting for the rotation, I think you're going to be genuinely faster in real life, like proper gains. I can like feel it the moment it was like a click and you started doing 109s. And it was like,
it did. There was something that just changed.
It felt so much nicer riding on board with you because it wasn't just a one-off lap. You then started doing the same thing lap after lap, and then the mistakes became the outliers rather than this is just how Nathalie does this corner. It's like you feel when it's wrong. Like on the exit of Village, you feel when you're too deep now because you felt it doing it the tight way now. You're not over here in the crap. And if you are, it's like, well, that's obviously wrong. Instead of not noticing. Sorry, go on.
Can I get back on the sim and go against this time for my delta or not?
Yes, you can go against, if you're doing it with versus because this is now your best ever lap. So let me...
Will it remember it outside of your session?
Yes, so if we go back into options, if you go on your options screen, we'll change it to versus all-time best, because your all-time best was in that run, I'm pretty sure. So that, and then you won't need to have set any lap times, you won't need to have your optimal up or anything, it should just compare you against that lap.
It'll be good to not start from scratch each time and go, oh, what was my...
Yeah, so if you go option at the bottom and then change from session opt lap to all-time best lap, and then done. Luckily, because it was legal, it should remember it. Now, if you just go in the car, let's just see what it says all-time best is. All-time best, 109.2. Yep, so it's comparing you against your best time from that session. So that will always now compare you against a 109.2.
And it'll have my optimal. Is that my optimal?
It still has the optimal, but the delta bar will be against the best lap you did in that last session there.
Okay.
Even though that will have been in a previous session, it will remember that 109.2.
Will it remember my optimal or not? No, probably not.
No, it'll remember your all-time optimal, but it won't. So that'll be like, I'm pretty sure that's one of the other options is all-time optimal.
So if I want to go back to optimal, then I just go into...
If you wanted it to compare against what
options.
You know how we were against optimal there? Because you set all your best ever sectors there, you could change it to versus all-time optimal, and that'll basically be what we were just comparing against on the last run, where it was optimal.
Maybe I'll change it to all-time optimal, and then if I don't get on with that, I can go back in here and change it to all-time best.
All-time best, yeah. And then that'll stay there until you beat it, and then it will compare against a new all-time best.
Because then you'll see on our next session what I've done.
Yeah. What I want to show you just before you go is how you would set up a session that's the same as this. Because the conditions matter massively. If you set up a different weather condition, you'll think you're doing crap when actually you're doing fine. Because iRacing feels a bit slippery, I try and set it up as like optimal conditions, and then I know it's the same every time we do it. So if you're just doing a test session, you would go, let's withdraw from that one. So you go test drive, and obviously we choose the car and track. So I'll find the Porsche.
I need my credit back.
Test sessions are free, obviously. Why can't... There it is. Cayman. And then you choose the track. And obviously make sure it's Silverstone International. So we go down to Silverstone Circuit. International. Right, but it's this bit that's the important bit. So it's the weather. So...
Can I just take a photo of that?
You can. Yeah. So let me do it first before we... So you can see what the settings are. So in weather, it should be on static. First of all, which is the first of the drop-down boxes. That means it's not going to change. You know, it's not like getting hotter and it's different through the session. And then I do mostly cloudy. That affects how much sunlight is hitting the track and how hot it gets. I then do track moisture none, obviously, because we don't want any wet. Temperature, I just go minimum,
22.
just down to the minimum. So it's down to 18.
Okay.
Wind speed 0 or minimum 2, I think is the minimum, and then humidity 0. And leave marbles I turn off, so it doesn't have artificial marbles before you start the session. Starting track state, generate. You can just leave that. Just like we'll start at a given amount of rubber down on the track. You can make it quicker by starting it at 0. The problem with that is the track will then evolve through your test run and as you put more rubber down, it's weird. It doesn't get quicker. As you put more rubber down, that rubber is black, and that means that bit of the track gets hotter, and so actually it gets a bit greasy feeling. So I just leave that on generate, so it starts with some rubber down, and it'll probably stay roughly the same. That's it. Oh, no, that isn't it. That isn't it. You have to go to the date as well, because the date affects what the ambient temperature is. So we did that on March the 1st at 9 a.m. So March the 1st, 9 a.m. Then that will give you... So if I just go to there, and then you can take a photo of that, and it's that. Those are the settings. That's what I always use for our sessions.
Okay, cool.
So we know it's the same every time.
Yeah, sounds good.
March the 1st is like the earliest date iRacing lets you use, and that means it's the coldest day of the year, and that means you've got most grip. That's it.
All right.
But that was good. That felt like a bit of a breakthrough, but that's why we need to be regular, and then you'll keep... It'll be easy to just get back in the swing.
Yeah.
What's our next session?
As well. It's next. It's not next week, because I'm in Scotland.
Yeah, it's not next week. It's the week after, yeah. Tuesday the 4th. Cool. Excellent.
I'm going to do a bit this weekend and next weekend when I get back from Scotland.
You know, you can turn on a ghost car if you want to have like a ghost comparison. It's up to you if that makes any difference, but you can.
No, I'm not used to it at the moment. So I think whilst I'm just getting back into it, I don't want to change anything that I'm not used to yet.
Use the Delta as your ghost then. You're chasing a virtual car that's like 3/10 down the road or whatever it is. So. Yeah. Okay,
and then maybe after my first race, if I start wanting to use a ghost car, I can.
Yeah, it's mainly because you can see the difference in positioning. That's what. Okay. I don't tend to use one. I don't think I've ever used one in iRacing, but it's a tool that you can use if it helps.
Might work for me. We'll see.
So.
All right.
Well done.
Cool.
Have a lovely day.
Well, I will see you
in 2 weeks. Have a nice time in Scotland.
Thanks, Brad. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.